Hey, what's up, guys? We're live a little bit early. I'm gonna give a few minutes for people to come in, but the chat is open. So, hey, guys, before we get started, we got a few minutes here, so feel free to leave some questions in the comments. I will answer them toward the end. I might sometimes pick them out even during, if it's on topic from what we're talking about. I might try to pick them out, but I got the chat open, so make sure to leave those. You know what? I'm going to get my water because I almost forgot. One second. Okay, I'm back, guys. Hey, I lost my viewer already. Just a second. Yeah, we're going to get started right at 11:30. But for anyone watching, I kick things off just a little bit early today. It's really cold out today here I'm in Wisconsin. I won't say where, but just so you know, yeah, I am in Wisconsin, and it's snowing like crazy. I took the dog out for a walk. We played in the snow this morning, and did some preparation. I always drink coffee on Sunday mornings, and I prepare for the show. I put together some stuff. So yeah, we got a couple minutes before we're going to start. So anyone wants to, just remember, if you leave a comment in the chat, I will answer. We're about to get kicked off. We got a couple minutes to go, one more minute to go. I'm going to kick off right at 11:30 and just start looking at the market watch. Before I get into it, I had a pretty cool day yesterday. I interviewed Skylar Whitty, who is in the new Lionsgate film called The Last Shootout. So you guys should check that film out. You can actually see it on Amazon. She is we graduated from the same high school. Her much more recently than me. In fact, she was born the year I graduated. So, but that was really fun. You should check it out on my Keep It Wasm podcast channel. So if you just check out Keep It Wasm, or actually if you search for Skylar Whitty, it'll come up. The video was a little soft, which was kind of a bummer. So I'm a little bit bummed about that. But other than that, well, it is. We got a little bit going. Really hoping to get some viewers today. Last week we had some pretty good viewers. This week we had one to start and they disappeared. So, but just one more reminder before we get into it. We're just about to start, but remember, if you leave your comments in the chat, we will answer them on air. So any questions you have, comments, I will even address too until we get to the point where I don't have time to do them all. But right now, that's not really the case. We had a few last week that were really good, and I collect them during the week too when I get them in the YouTube comments from my other videos. So anyway, we're going to kick off today, and it has been an interesting day for the market. The market is also kind of the news. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the Bitcoin crash, but let's just look at today. And yeah, sorry, I still don't have the option to share my screen yet, but I'm figuring that out. Bitcoin at 49,000. It is down 9.47% on the week, up 2.76% on the day. The big crash is what we're going to talk about. And it's funny because if you look at the charts, and I really wish I could show you those charts. I don't know. Maybe I will upgrade my Restream account at some point. They all kind of look the same. They all have this they're kind of going along. It looks, or I should say, they look different until right at the point where Bitcoin crashed. They all kind of have that big dip, and then they shoot up a little bit. So Ethereum is actually up 2% on the week and 3.4% on the 24-hour. It's up to 4162, which is pretty cool. Binance Coin down 4.44% on the week, up a little bit on today, almost 1% up today. Let's see what else is interesting. Solana down 2.17%, up 2.1% on the week, down 4% on the day. It's at 193. So if you were itching to buy some Solana, not a bad time to do it. In fact, I might move some Bitcoin over to Solana just because we've had a couple of times where you see it under 200, but otherwise it usually is much, much higher than 200. So I think that's probably a good time to buy. I might do that before I go out and shovel. Cardano at $1.35. It's down almost 10% on the week, down 2.89% on the day. I don't know what to make of Cardano. I don't want to get caught up. I think the fundamentals of Cardano are pretty good. I've heard some arguments to the contrary, but there's not enough projects. But I mean, if you look at the ecosystem, there's quite a few projects. I think they just haven't had a killer app. I think that's going to be key. And I don't do a lot in Cardano because I do so much in Algorand. Everything in Algorand is so usable. It's so fun. It's easy. It's always user friendly. Almost always, I should say. Even like I did one on AlgoGems. I'm going to talk about that too when we get into the videos for the past week. But everything is always just so user friendly on Algorand. I really should look more into why that is. So I don't use a lot of Cardano, but the price action is strange with Cardano because you'd expect it. There's a lot of times where you'd expect it to really pump and it hasn't. Let's see, XRP down 12.47%, up a little bit on the day. It's at 80 cents. It's probably a good buying opportunity, I would say. By the way, nothing here is financial advice. It's just my opinion and just me spouting off. Polkadot down 17% on the week. Now, Terra Luna, this is interesting because Terra Luna has been on a Terra. That was a really bad dad joke. I apologize for that. I was going to make it anyway, but I felt like I needed to apologize because that was pretty bad. But no, seriously, it's up 48% on the week and 18.48% on the 24-hour chart, sitting at $70.55. I haven't even looked into this. This is a top 10 project, and I really should know all the top 10s. And I'm pretty familiar with most of them except Terra. So that's going to be my homework for this week. Look into Terra because I can't tell you why it has bucked the trend. It still has that little dip, but it's kind of funny. I wish I could show this to you. It's like slowly rising. It's just rising. The chart is rising. It does that little dip, and then it kind of came right back. It's like a little V. So you could really draw a line from the bottom to the top, and it wouldn't miss a beat other than that little dip. Goes right back to the spot where it would have gone if it just kept going along steadily. Really interesting. That's been resistance. It's not the only one, but none of them quite responded that way. Dogecoin is at 17 cents. That's really low it's 14% down on the week. You've been seeing Doge in the 22 to 26 cents range. So to be down 14% and to be sitting at 17. Avalanche too, it's at 88. In fact, maybe I might buy some of that. I've been wanting to get an Avalanche. I hear it's a really good project. It's got a lot of good endorsement. Again, don't know a ton about it. I'll probably look into that and Terra Luna this week. Down 17%, sitting at 88.56, and even down today, 4.5. And Shiba Inu is down only 4% on the week and 2.84% on the day. So not a huge dip for Shiba, but I think it's because it was pumping so much. Currently at, I don't know, 36 thousandths, 10 thousandths, something like that. 0.000036, whatever that is. Let's see, Matic is actually up 34% on the week and 10.6% on the day. So we have a few coins that have really kind of bucked the trend a little bit. And then Crypto.com coin is actually up 2% on the day, almost down 20% on the week. And that's one that was really pumping lately. So, I don't know. It kind of seems to be on a downward trend, but might be a time to pick that up. Just don't expect, gains right away. I'm not going to. Binance, US dollar. I don't really care. So let's go to Algorand. Algorand is doing really well, up 5% on the week, 7.8% on the day. You got a chance to buy in around $1.50 if you were paying attention. I'm pretty happy with the amount of Algorand I have right now. It's growing from various DeFi stuff, so I'm like, I'm just kind of letting it ride. I'm not so worried about putting a lot more capital in, just like Cosmos, which is, I'm going to skip down to that one. Well, let me see. I'm going to keep going through to see if there's any notable exceptions. Decentraland has been interesting because it lost a lot, but then it kind of gained some back. kind of on a downward trend, but it's still up 1% on the day. But remember how this thing was, I think it was almost at $5 at one point. It's at 372 right now. I really think, BitBoy Crypto has talked a lot about the, these gaming tokens, these metaverse tokens, and there's some crossover between the two. I'm a big fan of those. I think he's right. I think those are I think we're gonna see a lot with gaming and with metaverse and the combination of the two. So I'm big on those. I think they're gonna go. I think they have this really strong use case, because let's be honest, we all like playing games. Games are fun. I don't know. Did you guys see? I probably should have put that in my news somewhere, but Mark Zuckerberg went on Gary Vee's channel, and while I don't love his style of interviewing, I think he interrupts a little too much or a little too soon. They're in the middle of making a point. I kind of wish he wouldn't do that. There is a skill to interrupting, and it is something an interviewer should do, but you can't do it too much. Then you're just making it about you. But it was great, and he really kind of went into metaverse, and they kind of talked about how like the success of farmland was sort of a precursor to that, because there was the realization that people would pay for digital assets, which they're doing on all kinds of games. But what's cool about the gaming market is that you actually own the assets you buy. So if they increase in value, you can sell them and actually, have ownership, have equity in it, versus like, giving all your money to Fortnite and Epic gets all the money and you have these things. And if you don't need them anymore, well, you're kind of screwed. Gary Vee was talking about going from, say Roblox, say a kid starts with Roblox and then he gets older and he wants to join Fortnite instead of Roblox. Well, you're starting from scratch and all your Roblox stuff is useless. But imagine you did that. Imagine both of them were DeFi. By the way, is this still working? Oh, good. Had some issues last week. And is anybody watching? No one's watching. Anyway, wait, this is working, isn't it? I had someone in the beginning. I just want to check really quick. See the little live thing. Let's go to my channel. I just want to make sure people are up. I see someone watching. Okay, cool. Yeah. See the little live thing. Okay, cool. Let's go to my channel. All right, I don't want to see that. All right, no one wants to see that. But anyway, bottom line is I'm really very bullish on any of the gaming and DeFi tokens. So I'd keep an eye on that stuff. I think that's really a big deal. The other one I want to talk about is Cosmos. Kind of held steady, but it had a huge pump. And when everyone else was dipping, it kind of dipped back down to its, I don't want to say regular levels, because it had been in the high 30s. But yeah, on the week, pretty much level, just a little bit up. Let's see if there's any big notable exceptions that are. I'm just going to scan here. Gala, I've been thinking about getting into this one. This is a gaming token too. I don't know anything about the game, but it's actually down 24% in the week, but it had a huge pump before that. So it was starting from really high place, and it's actually gained back some. It's at 11% up on the day. Helium kind of did the same thing on a smaller scale. Yeah, and then there's this Eunice said Leo. And what's interesting about this one, it must be just new enough that it didn't really seem to be impacted. It's the one coin that really wasn't impacted from the DeFi tokens, which is really interesting. By the way, remember, anyone watching, please leave your comments, leave questions in the comments. We'll answer them at the end of the show. So you can see your comment. I will talk about them on air. Stacks is down a little bit today, but actually up 14%, I think is interesting. We're just going through the top 100 and see if there's any big exceptions. Yeah, Quant is up 12% on the day, but it's down 4.78% on the week. I don't know much about that project either. And AMP has had a little comeback after dropping 25% on the week. Now, remember, AMP had a huge pump. It was in the 6 cents range, getting close to 7, so it was kind of cool to see that. Cardano. That's one I've heard a lot of people talking about. Again, don't know much about it. I'm okay with that, by the way. I don't need to know everything about every coin. I'm more interested in knowing a lot about a few coins. Theta Fuel. Now, I thought maybe this was related to Theta Arena, which is a play to earn game, but I guess it is not. It's separate from that. So Yeah, otherwise everything pretty much is either down a little bit or, up a little bit today, but down. Like 1 inch network, it was down 21%, up 7. Immutable X token, which, by the way, the game Gods Unchanged, which is on the Immutable X platform, great game. Like Hearthstone, but play to earn. Except the problem is they put everything on Ethereum, and once the fees got too high on Ethereum, they had to shut down all the features that, like, you can't like create cards or do any of that kind of stuff. That might have changed. That was a while ago, but the fees haven't come down, so I don't see why it would have. Yeah, Celsius token actually is kind of an exception. It's up. Now, it did have that little dip too, but it was kind of on the uptrend, so it's kind of up 6% on the day and the week. Yeah, otherwise, not much to talk about there. So let's get into the meat of the show here. And thanks for watching, by the way. We took a while with that. So I made 2 videos this week. One was about the Bitcoin crash that happened yesterday. That was sort of an emergency video. I had a couple podcasts last week too, so I didn't get to do as many videos as I normally do. I tried to do 2 during the week. I guess I did do 2, but it was kind of an emergency one because I could see like everyone's really concerned about the Bitcoin crash. I'm going to talk more about that when we get to the news item. So I'm not going to talk too much about that now, but the Algorand one, I have to say, first off, it was really cool getting retweeted from the Algorand team. They actually shared a clip of my video on their Instagram page, which I thought was really neat. Although I was kind of surprised they didn't do it on Twitter. They did it somehow they found me on Instagram, which I thought was interesting. But the platform works really well. I just haven't figured out how to sell these things yet. So that's like kind of step 2 is learning how to actually sell an NFT. Like, what makes it marketable? What makes people want to buy it? How do you have to do a lot of them for people feel like? I don't really know. So if anyone out there knows about strategy, I'd be super curious. Now, coming up this week, I don't entirely know what I'm going to do, except I do know on Monday, DeFi chain, the Cake DeFi is releasing D tokens on its platform, which allows you to, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to take these D tokens, which are like, they could be stocks. You could have like Amazon or Tesla, but in the form of a token that tracks the stock price of the underlying asset, and you'll be able to do liquidity mining with it. So I think that's kind of cool. I might try some of it. By the way, a really interesting thing today, I looked at my Cake DeFi account, and it said I had $5 in it. I don't know where that came from or what that was for. And I couldn't access, when I looked at my assets, it didn't list them on the assets, but it says it in the little summary. No idea. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I had to take a drink here. All right, enough about that. Let's get into the news. So the big news this week was the huge Bitcoin crash. Now, the CoinMarketCap on its site had that it went down to 42. I can't see any evidence. It must have been really, really briefly that it touched it. But it seemed 45 is where it hit on the charts. That's visible to us. And then it kind of bounced back. It was 48 in the morning and then 49. I did buy in a little bit. 49 is, in my opinion, a good price for Bitcoin because it's going to be worth much more in the future. So a lot of people kind of talked about the reasons, and I went into that a little bit on my video, but we had kind of a combination of a bad jobs report. There was fewer jobs than people who entered the market. I don't know why that's bad though, because weren't we having a problem with like not enough people? So don't we want more people seeking jobs than jobs being created? Doesn't that help kind of get us back into balance? I guess I'm a little confused on that, so I don't get it. But the stock market dropped pretty much at the same time as the crypto market dropped. So, well, I shouldn't say that. We've actually seen a slow decline in the crypto market or the stock market. It's not been good, but it did drop a lot. I'm pretty far down in my stock holdings too. By the way, I do index funds. I don't pick stocks like I do with crypto. It's just not the same. And I can get into that in another episode of why my strategies they're kind of similar, but they're a little bit different with crypto. We'll get into that in another one. But if you really want it, let me know in this chat, and maybe I'll address it before we end the live stream. And there was some FUD too, some talk about China how China had banned Bitcoin, and apparently Charlie Munger thought that was a good thing, which I think is kind of stupid personally, but I don't think we should be cheering on China banning anything, frankly, but that's just my opinion. And I really feel like when the market is down, this is my strategy. This is what I will share right now. My strategy with stocks is when the market is down, great. It's stocks are on sale. Think about like a discount. I think it's a huge discount. I think Bitcoin is at a huge discount right now, and so are stocks. So if you're going to buy index funds, now would be the time to do it. But I also believe in dollar cost averaging. So I kind of also believe in not really worrying about the market. So this is more for psychology. This is more thinking. This is how it's good either way, right? So if it's good, well, great. The next time you buy, you're getting a deal. If it's up, cool. I'm buying into a thing that's going up. Wonderful. With Bitcoin, I feel like most beginners should just use dollar cost averaging. Just keep buying in. It'll go up over time. Even when Bitcoin fell to 45%, someone pointed out it was still almost 200% up on the year before, which I think it was at like 17,000 or something like that. So it's up quite a bit when you look at it that way. So we take that for granted sometimes. We think, God, when is this thing going to get to 100,000? Well, don't forget, around this time last year, it was like at 17,000 or something like that. It's probably that was something I looked up a couple weeks ago, so it might be a little bit different because I think it started going up, but still. But that's what I have to say on that. Just stay calm, hodl if you don't know what to do. That's probably your best bet. Just don't. If you sell at a loss, that's when you lose. This thing's going to be worth a lot in the long run. Okay, it might be a year or two, but it's going to be worth a lot more than it is now. So don't get too hung up on the daily price fluctuations. Treat it as entertainment. Okay, our next news item, Bitmart got hacked. So Bitmart is an exchange, and some hackers made off with nearly $200 million worth of crypto. From what I understand, the hack involved Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, and exploitation through that. They actually took away something like 20 different coins. And related to that, apparently Celsius had a hack of $50 million involving an exploit of the Badger DAO DeFi protocol. So not so good. You never want to see these things happen. When it'd be good if they can make sure that they can keep these things secure, which is interesting. So I don't think we're ever going to see like a Mt. Gox ever again, but these smaller exchanges, I don't know. I'd be leery of them. I'm even a little leery of my Celsius now, so that's a little disturbing. In another news, the FBI seized more than $2 million worth of Bitcoin recently. Now, apparently, this actually happened back on August 3rd. The count was supposedly this whole raid was tied to ransomware payments, and it wasn't just like an individual. Apparently, it was a dollar amount that came from a ransomware syndicate. So these are kind of scumbags. So I don't feel bad that their crypto got. If they were just taking regular citizens' crypto, I'd be concerned. But, these ransomware syndicates, good, get the bad guys, put them in jail, take their money. Cool. The FBI has not said how it obtained the Bitcoin, so we don't really know what they did. I assume they might have had some help in some way. But something to think about, the FBI is getting much, much more crypto savvy. Remember, there was a crypto exploit related to the Keystone Pipeline, and then there was another one recently that came up too. In both cases, the money was ultimately returned because they were able to track it down. I think it's pretty cool. Hey, by the way, guys, remember you can leave your comments in the description, and I will answer them at the end of the show, along with some stuff I collected during the week. Well, what else we got? And in fact, we're going to get to that right now. Don't have anything in the chat, but feel free to leave one. If it comes in before I go, I will talk about it. So, all right. Someone this week had kind of a criticism of Lofty AI and the latest Lofty AI video that I made. And they were talking about how they were a landlord and how a property can go into negative cash flow. They were talking about, the problem with people not paying their rent, and we're seeing a lot of that. There was the eviction moratorium for a while, so people could get away with not paying the rent and still stay in their house. And I kind of get that. I do think if the government was going to do that, they probably should have helped out landlords a little bit. They should have been able to apply for some kind of help because running a property like this, it costs money. It's not cheap. I mean, it can be very profitable for the people who run it, but you have to put money into maintenance. You probably have to pay a mortgage unless it's paid off. Depending on how you charge your utilities, you might be paying those. So it's it's not like it's just free for them. So it would have been nice if they helped a little bit. But someone brought this up and they said, well, these can go into negative cash flow. So, isn't there a huge risk? Well, so here's the thing with Lofty and why I like it. I have $700 invested in it. I don't have a problem saying that. And over that $700 is spread out over 8 properties. So if one of those places stops paying rent, or even 2 of them, it's not really going to affect me that much. Whereas if I was going to go out and buy a property today, I could do it, but it'd be like one property. Unless you use that whole leverage thing, and I bought one and started paying down that and use that to leverage to get the other one. And that's still like a lot of money, and it's a lot of risk. This is almost like a tiny amount of risk, and I can spread up my risk. So if I had the one property and I had tenants stop paying rent, that might go from cash positive to cash negative. I still got to pay my mortgage. I still got to pay the other expenses and fix anything, but now I'm not getting the rent coming in. So this is great. Lofty is great because it doesn't matter if I have 1 or 2 properties that aren't paying rent for whatever reason. And I think they have some protections on that as well, but the risk is almost completely mitigated. It's I'll lose a teeny tiny amount, but I have all these other properties still paying rent. So this is why I like it. It's kind of like an REIT, except you get to pick whatever properties, and you have actual ownership. You're not just in a fund that theoretically owns these, where you theoretically own these properties. You really do own a tokenized ownership of them. So that's what I like. And then I kind of mentioned this before, but so it's not a question, but I thought it was pretty cool that the Algorand team shared my post. I thought that was really neat. They shared it on Instagram, like I said earlier in the stream, and I thought that was really neat. I thought it was really cool of them to do. They didn't have to do that. They seemed really supportive, and they responded to me when I thanked them and said that's really cool. I would like to have them on at some point. But I also was contacted this week or maybe it was even last week. I don't remember. Yeah, it might have been last week. But the Kita Inu folks behind the Kita Inu token have actually reached out to me, and they're apparently big fans of the show, which is pretty cool. And they were open to a crypto talk. So I think this month we're gonna have a crypto talk with them, and who knows, maybe next month I can have one with the Algorand team. That'd be pretty cool too. I really enjoy doing those crypto talks. They're really fun. It's a fun way to reach out to people, and it gives me content too. So kind of a win-win-win. All right. Well, if you guys were thinking about asking a question, now'd be the time to do it, because I'm about to close the channel. Doesn't look like anyone's coming in, so. Hey, thank you guys for watching today. For everyone that watched the channel, we'll have a couple videos this week. Like I said, one for sure will be on Cake DeFi and their new offering D tokens. And I'm not sure what else this week for sure. Usually stuff comes to me. There's so much to do in this space. There's so much stuff I'm behind on. But hey, I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks so much. You guys stay safe out there. Thanks for joining me on this Sunday morning. And as I always say, we will see you in the future.